What up guys, my name is Ponehammer and I'd like to welcome you back to the Mists of Pandaria beta. Today I'll be going over a little bit of the changes for the Paladin class. Why, you ask? Well, one, I plan on playing my Paladin again in Mists of Pandaria, and one of my friends in guild was not fortunate enough to get any playtime and he wanted to see what's going on with Paladins. Two things that you can notice right off the bat, if you haven't seen yet, we have no auras anymore. Devotion aura, Resistance aura, and Crusader aura are all gone. However, Crusader aura did come back. I guess they felt that a lot of people would complain, and it is now a passive ability. So passively, Paladins have a 20% increased mount speed. Also, Paladins now can hold 5 holy power. However, you can only use 3 at a time. So while I'm doing this, as you can see, it actually is much easier to generate holy power now, because finally Crusader Strike isn't the only thing that generates holy power. But as you can see, you still can only use 3 at a time. Let me get another stack here. There, I have 4. Use the Templar's Verdict and I still have 1 left. Exorcism. Exorcism is now instacast. There's no longer a cast time, which makes me think, since we don't have Holy Wrath anymore as Retribution, as far as I can tell, only Protection Paladins still get Holy Wrath. They want to use Exorcism as our filler. Don't worry guys, Art of War, they took the buff away, so using a normal Exorcism is the same as using the procced one, unless they're hiding the math values in the tooltip and they're not showing them. But yeah, so Exorcism will be our fillers now. I still feel that we don't have enough abilities and there's still a bit of downtime like there is now, where you can have everything on cooldown and just be sitting there auto attacking for a minute or two. Couple new abilities. First of all, Emancipate. Emancipate's like our new cleanse talent. When you use Emancipate, it removes 1 movement impairing effect, just like cleanse used to. And Devotion aura. Devotion aura is now hang on, I can't think of the name of the ability. Oh, Aura Mastery. Sorry, I never play heals. I am really bad at healing, so I never play it. But Devotion Aura is very similar to Aura Mastery. There are some changes. You are still immune to silence and interrupt effects, but it gains another ability of reducing all magic damage taken by 20%, and this goes to all your party members, and as far as I can tell, every Paladin has it. So they're turning Paladins into an even more supporty class than they already were. Inquisition is now Retribution Paladin only. Protection Paladins and Holy Paladins cannot use it. It is not available to them. It's specific to the Retribution Paladin, which isn't much of a big deal because I've never really seen a tank use it except for maybe in the beginning trying to get some extra threat or damage. And I've never seen a Paladin healer use it. Just, I don't know, maybe they're trying to holy shock someone to death, but I haven't seen a Holy Paladin use it, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Like I said earlier, Holy Wrath is now Protection Paladin only, and so is Consecration. Consecration now, though, is you can get a glyph that makes it very similar to D&D, and I'll switch my specs real quick so you can see it. And I don't like how they're doing this right now. I think that needs to be fixed. Right now in live, whenever you switch your specs, there's automatically saved action bars and they switch over, but for some reason in the beta, I don't know if they intended that or not, but it is not, and your main action bars sometimes freak out and extra abilities come while you're moving your cursor. But as you can see, Consecration is now glyphable to move where you want it to. very similar to D&D, which I think is awesome personally. That really helps tanks out. If there's any ads coming from another area, they can just drop it and get some threat on them. Another change is Blessing of Might. Blessing of Might increased attack power in Cataclysm, and now it increases Mastery, which I do not think is a bad idea. Mastery is becoming more and more valuable stat as the new expansions go on. And apparently I'm in combat, so I cannot switch my spec back to ret. I guess we'll go over talents now as soon as I can switch my spec back. Alright, talents. Level 15 is all of our movement talents. Speed of Light, which I think is amazing for tanks and healers. Maybe some viability for Retribution, but I don't see it. But it lets that tank get from point A to point B in a hurry, pick up threat, go charge the boss. I think it's awesome. I don't really see it used in PvP, which is what I like to do. Long Arm of the Law, same as it was, except now it doesn't have the 8-yard restriction. You can be right up on someone, and let me get a seal on here, and you get Long Arm of the Law. Thank God, by the way, because I hate having to chase someone down, turn around, and go get them again. Pursuit of Justice, I see this more for healers, but anybody can use it. You gain 15% movement speed at all time, plus 5 additional movement speed per stack of Holy Power, up to 3. In my opinion, it just helps healers out so they don't really have to worry about another buff to get out of the way, but I could also see him using Speed of Light. That's just my opinion. I don't really play a healer, so it's going to be up to them how they play. This is our control at level 30, our 3 control abilities. You see Fist of Justice, which is basically Rapid Hodge. It replaces Hand of Justice and gives you a 30-second cooldown on it. Repentance, and that shouldn't be any different, and Burden of Guilt, which, thank God, I love this ability. It's basically our slow without having to switch to our seal. So you can now slow enemies while chasing them. Amazing for amazing for BGs and RBGs. The only thing I don't like is you have to make that choice between something we could all have. Like I said, in BGs, I would definitely use Burden of Guilt. In arenas, I don't know, Repentance or Fist of Justice, or even Burden of Guilt. I really don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But Burden of Guilt, amazing ability. At level 45, we get our healing ability, Selfless Healer. I think this is an amazing ability. What it does, every time you cast Judgment, you gain a stack of Selfless Healer. And I think after, is it 3 stacks. After 3 stacks, you get a free Flash of Light, which I think is amazing. Just another heal to keep Retribution Paladins up. I know that's going to be annoying for a lot of classes, but I like it a lot. Eternal Flame. This is basically kind of like Renew for Word of Glory. What it does is it changes your Word of Glory into a straight heal, and then after an additional time it heals you for so much. And as you can see, it's actually for a long time. I'll just go ahead and read the tooltip. Consumes up to 3 Holy Power. Place Protective Holy Flame on a friendly target, which heals them for 5,903 and an additional 594 every 2.8 seconds for 30 seconds. Healing increase per charge of Holy Power replaces Word of Glory. I could see Retribution Paladins using this, but I doubt it because I think Selfless Healer is a better talent, personally. But Holy Paladins are going to love that. Sacred Shield. Protects the target with a shield of Holy Light for 28 seconds. The shield absorbs 5,919 damage every 5.6 seconds. Can only be active on one target. Personally, I think this ability needs changed a little bit. After giving us the amazing Sacred Shield and Cataclysm, which was basically almost a cheat death. It not bring you back from the dead, but it kept you up. And from what I can tell, that 5,919 damage doesn't scale, and in my opinion it needs to scale, because a level 90 with a 5,000 damage shield doesn't really matter, because in PvP you're hitting for, my mage hit for 100k Pyroblast, which is better from what it was, because there was resilience issues. I'm not going to go into that. You can look at my previous video, but I do feel that this ability needs to have a little bit of a buff. But for right now, I see Retribution Paladins using Selfless Healer, and maybe even tanks, or maybe even Eternal Flame for tanks. But I'm not a huge fan of Sacred Shield right now. Level 60, I'm just going to call this our utility abilities, because it's kind of a mix of everything. We can get a new hand, which reduces harmful periodic effects by 70% for 6 seconds. Cool ability. Might use it in PvP, might use it in PvE, I'm not sure. I think the other abilities kind of outweigh it for other classes. I could see a healer using it, maybe a high damaging fight, but I don't know. Unbreakable Spirit, I think is an amazing ability for tanks. Basically what it does is while you spend Holy Power, you reduce your cooldowns of your Divine Shield, Divine Protection, and Lay on Hands, up to a 50% reduction. I feel that's amazing for tanks, just because playing a Paladin, you kind of have to cycle your cooldowns, but that just helps you with that. Clemency, I feel that this ability is amazing for PvP, and I could not see a Paladin not having this, because it's awesome. What it does is it lets you use basically your hands twice without incurring a cooldown. So say you're slowed and you use a Hand of Freedom to break out of it, and of course you can always use Emancipate, and then maybe you get trapped in a, I don't know, like a Desecration, and then you're slowed in there, you can hit it again. I feel the double hands are awesome. Level 75 is our damaging abilities. Holy Avenger, this is basically Zealotry with a 30% damage buff. I'm really going to have to get more time on these to tell you which one I like better, but for right now I kind of like Sanctified Wrath or Divine Purpose. Sanctified Wrath, as you can see, reduces the cooldown on specific abilities depending on what spec you are. Holy reduces Holy Shock by 50%, Protection reduces Judgment by 50%, and Avenging Wrath also heals you, or increases healing received by 20%, and Retribution reduces the cooldown on the Hammer of Wrath. And I think last Friday they changed it because it used to give your Hammer of Wrath no cooldown, which was insanely overpowered, because you could see Paladins just chucking these hammers. And that right there was a glyph. I'll get to glyphs here in a second. Divine Purpose, abilities that cause Holy Power have a 25% chance to cause Divine Purpose effect. It's the same as it is in Cataclysm. You have a chance to get a free ability with 3 Holy Power. Level 90, I have not had a chance to level this character. I leveled my mage first. And like I said earlier, this is a template because I also did not get into the beta, but a friend of mine has 2 accounts and got 2 beta keys, so he's let me use this one. Holy Prism, this is one of our new abilities. It's kind of weird. Basically, what it's going to do is you turn an enemy into a Holy Prism, or an ally into a Holy Prism. If they're an enemy, they take so much damage and radiate healing to nearby allies. And if it's an ally, they are healed and then radiate damage to nearby enemies. I don't really know. I haven't got to use this ability. I think it's kind of cool. It might be another filler ability. I think this is going to be filler abilities for Retribution Paladins specifically, because right now we're only running with 3 technically, and 2 of them are proc based and Holy Power based. Light's Hammer, this is basically another AoE. like Consecration. You throw an infused hammer into the ground where it'll blast 10-yard area with arcing lightning for 16 seconds. Arcing lightning deals so much damage to enemies and healing to allies. Sorry about that, guys. I'm back. I guess world crash or something. I don't know. I was set offline for a second, but I got right back in after reloading. Where was I? Light's Hammer, I do believe I covered. And Execution Sentence, that's another new ability. I think Retribution Paladins are going to use this one. I haven't seen it in use, but from what its description, it sounds like the I think they're the Iron Council and Blackwing Depths, the first raid of Cataclysm, the big hammer that if you didn't kill that enemy within a specific time, he killed that person. But I don't think it's going to be an insta kill because it says so. A hammer falls slowly from the sky, causing that amount of damage over 10 seconds. This damage is dealt slowly at first, then increases over time, accumulating into a final burst of damage. If used on friendly targets, falling hammer heals for so much and steadily increases. I'm honestly kind of torn. I'd have to get some time under them. All three of these abilities are viable, in my opinion, for a Retribution Paladin. In PvP. PvE, I don't know, probably Execution Sentence. I mean, because Light Hammer gives you some extra healing and some extra damage while they're standing there, but all they gotta do is move, while as Execution Sentence, you cast it on somebody, just like Marked for Death. But they both have a minute cooldown. One seems good for flag defense, for example, but like I said, I'd have to get some time on them. Oh, our other new ability before I get is, I can't remember the guy's name, but he was in the 5-man TOC. He was the very end, had a random chance to fight him, and you had to turn around because he had the Blinding Light. Paladins now have Blinding Light, which is a disorient with a 2-minute cooldown. And I don't know how I'm going to set up my bars because, like I said, a lot of our filler abilities are gone. I'm not going to go over all the glyphs. I'm just going to go over the ones real quick that I think are pretty cool and maybe the most used, because I don't care what Blizzard says. They're still going to be most used, but I do see what they're trying to do. So everybody just doesn't have the exact same spec, and there's a little bit of personality and character to each character. First of all, I have this one equipped already. Templar's Verdict. This is an amazing PvP glyph in my opinion. Whenever you hit somebody with Templar's Verdict, you take 10% less damage for 6 seconds. I like that ability a lot. Avenging Wrath as a glyph now will heal you for 1% of your maximum health every 2 seconds. That's great if you're... I don't know how other Paladins play, but personally I like to charge and run the fight because Paladins can do a good job of keeping themselves up. Especially if you have a pocket healer and now you have extra healing and just accumulates. I already spoke about Consecration. This glyph I'm going to show you right now needs to be changed. I'm sure other people have said their opinion, but I do not like it. Glyph of Inquisition reduces the damage bonus of Inquisition by 15%, but increases its duration by 100%. Basically, what this means is you get a longer Inquisition, but do less damage. And in my opinion, there's no excuse for that, because one, we have so much holy power now, which is a good thing, don't get me wrong, because only having Crusader Strike build holy power for Retribution Paladins really restricted their damage. Hang on, let me see if I can get this glyph up. Normal Inquisition, 30% damage, increased crit chance. And then I'll just switch to this glyph real quick. increases damage done by 15%, increases crit chance by 10%. It sounds good for PvP, but essentially what you're doing is less damage. That's all that amounts to, is you are doing less damage to keep a buff that is easily sustainable now. And I could just see lots of hate going on for people using that glyph in raids and in PvP. Where did my Templar's Verdict glyph go? There it is. And there's only a couple more glyphs I really want to go over real quickly. These are minor glyphs. You got to see Fire from the Heavens earlier. Let me see if I can get it again. Basically, your judgments and your Hammer of Wrath crits cause you to call fire from the sky. It's purely just prettiness is all it does. And I think they can make it look a lot cooler since warriors can run around on fire now. And I just cannot get a crit to save my... There you go. A little bit of fire from the sky. Glyph of Luminous Charger. Don't really need to cover that, but it just makes your Paladin specific mount glow a little bit. And if they really want to do this, I think they should have made it glow more. Like, give it Avenging Wrath wings or something, because this is kind of lame, in my opinion. And probably the best glyph to come back to WoW ever, period. I loved doing this in Wrath. It was just fun. I loved dropping into the Alliance City because I played Horde in Wrath. Dancing around with my Sacred Shield, or Divine Shield, and then hearthing away. Bubble Hearth is back. You get a 50% increase Hearthstone cast while you're under the effects of Divine Shield. Let me see if I can do it real quick. I haven't built a macro for it yet, so there you go, Bubble Hearth. And that's about it for Paladins. If there's anything else you want to see, just let me know in the comments below and I'll cover it for you. I'm sorry about the length of this video. Just trying to cover all the basics real quick. As far as I know, the pre-patch is coming out in a couple weeks and you all get to play with this yourselves. Hopefully someone sees this and maybe a few things can be changed, but this late I doubt it, and we'll probably see it in the expansion. Well, thanks for watching.